All right, so we've been working with square roots and making the square roots go as low as they can into simplified form. One of the reasons we do that is because we need to be able to use it with the Pythagorean theorem or with triangles, which is what you're going to need to use for geometry. So what we're going to do is you're going to remember the equation for a right triangle that we've used, which is a Pythagorean theorem. That's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is the hypotenuse. That's the angle that's across, that's the side that's across from the 90-degree angle. That's the longest side. So this would be C. So when we go to write the equation, we're going to write, it doesn't matter which one is A or B. So it's just the legs. So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals x squared. Okay, so the legs squared, you add those together, that equals the hypotenuse squared. So now to solve from here, you can just go ahead and go in the calculator. So let me grab the calculator up here. 3 squared plus 4 squared, enter. That gives you that gives you 25. So we're going to have x squared equals 25. To find x, first off, you take the, to get rid of the squared, you take the square root of each side. Well, remember that's when we talked about that the square root is the opposite of squared, so they cross each other out. So I get x equals, and what is the square root of 25? It should be 5, so x is 5. This one works out nicely. That doesn't always happen. So when we look, let's go to number 3. See how this one does. Remember, my equation for the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, as I look at this, the c squared is across from the 90-degree angle. That's that 17. A and b are the legs. It doesn't matter which one you choose to be a or b. So I'm going to have x squared plus the other leg, 15 squared, equals the hypotenuse, which is 17 squared. Now, to be able to find x squared, you're just subtracting them. Because when I move this to the other side, I'm going to get x squared equals 17 squared minus 15 squared. So if I go into the handy-dandy calculator and put in there 17 squared minus 15 squared and press enter, that gives me 64. So x squared equals 64. This one ends up being an easy one as well, because when I take the square root of each side, the square root crosses out the square. So I get x equals, and the square root of 64 is 8. So x equals 8. Number 5. Again, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So on this one, they give us the c. It's across from the 90-degree angle. I don't know one of my legs. So what I'm going to have is x squared plus the other leg, which is 5 squared, equals the hypotenuse. That is 7 squared. So we have to move the 5 squared over, so I'll subtract 5 squared from each side. I get x squared equals 7 squared minus 25. I was already squaring it. Hold on. Which is minus 5 squared, which you could already do the squareds if you wanted to. Let's see, let me move this over. So I have 7 squared minus 5 squared, and I press enter. That gives me 24. So I get x squared equals the square root, not the square root, oops, sorry, not yet. It equals 24. Now I have to take the square root of each side. That's because it makes this go away, and I get x equals the square root of 24. That's not a perfect square. It doesn't give you an exact number. So we can go in, and we need to rationalize it. So first off, I guess my equation up here, I should have written x squared plus 5 squared equals 7 squared. Now, when I have the square root of 24, what numbers, you can do it a couple different ways. What numbers go into 24? 6 and what? 6 and 4. Now, if you already see there's a couple ways you can continue to move these down into prime numbers. Or if you see already, here's a perfect square. If you see that you have the square root of 4 times the square root of 6, what's the square root of 4? 2. 6 doesn't have a perfect square in it. And so your answer, we're going to find out the answer is going to be 2 square root of 6. But if we do it where we go ahead and break it all the way down, my 4 breaks down into 2 and 2. Remember, I underline these. So I remember that's as low as they go, and I don't forget them. 6 is 2 times 3. So now, underneath the square root sign, I have 2, that's this one, times 3. And then I have 2 more 2's. Now, it takes 2 to come out of the house. It takes 2 to come out of the house. That's where my 2 comes from. So that's why my answer is 2 square root. There's nothing else I can take out, so 2 times 3 is 6. One way you can check and see if your answers are correct is by going in the calculator. All right. First off, we started off with the square root of 24. So if you put second x squared and type in 24 and press enter, gives you a decimal. Try this one. 2 square root of 6 and press enter. You should come up with the exact same thing, and that way you can check and make sure that you rationalized it, made sure that you simplified it all the way down to the correct one. All right, so let's look at number 7. Number 7 now says find each missing length, express in simplest form. It gives you A and it gives you B. So I know A is 6 and B is 8. I need to find C. So my equation, I have A squared, remember A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I get 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. Well, move this over. I'm going to have 6 squared plus 8 squared and press enter. That's 100. That works out nicely because C squared equals 100. Take the square root of each side. Well, these cancel out and I get C equals, what's the square root of 100? 10. It works out nicely. So C is 10. Number 9. Remember, we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. It gives me A and B. So I can have 2 squared plus B is also 2. 2 squared equals C squared. Well, let me see, you can do it also just without putting the calculator. What's 2 squared? 4 plus 4 equals C squared. So I'm looking for 8 equals C squared. I need to take the square root of each side. These cancel, so I'm trying to find the square root of 8 to simplify it for C. Well, square root of 8. When I split it up, that is 2 times 4. Look at that perfect square right there. Square root of 4 times the square root of 2. What is the square root of 4? 2. So I get 2 square root of 2. That is what C is. Again, to check and make sure you have your answers correct, go in there, put the square root of 8, enter. Now do 2 square root of 2 and press enter. And you can check and make sure you have the same thing. If I go and I'm going to, let's see, maybe I'll go back. I'll do one of these others, and then you guys need to work on these. Oh, let's see here. Let's do 200. If we do 200, and I break this up, the easiest way to do it is to look for your perfect squares. 200, I have 2 times 100. 100 is a perfect square. So I have the square root of 2 times the square root of 100. What is the square root of 100? 10. So my answer becomes 10 square root of 2. Again, check them in the calculator the same way. Putting in there the square root of 200, enter, and then 10 square root of 2, and press enter. That way you know that you're correct.